Have a seat. Thank you for joining me today. Go ahead and get comfortable, relaxing your shoulders, sitting up tall, and starting to focus on your breath, slowing it down and deepening it, relaxing your belly so it can expand as you inhale. Checking in with your body today and just noticing how it feels, if there's any fatigue, if there's any soreness, taking care of those areas that you need to take care of, and remembering to come back to child's pose anytime you need to or want to. Today we're going to set an intention of joy. Extreme joy today in this practice. Joy in our movements, joy in the way our bodies feel, joy in whatever we have to look forward to the rest of the day. Joy simply in being here, in getting to do this. Still breathing slowly. Feeling that sense of joy spreading throughout your entire body. From the tips of your toes all the way up to the crown of your head and out through your hair. We're going to start with some spinal circles, putting our palms down on our knees and rolling around, inhaling forward as we bring the heart forward, and exhaling, rounding the back. Inhaling forward and rounding back as we exhale. Good. Arching and rounding the back. And then folding here over the right knee. You can come to your elbows if that's comfortable, otherwise just to your palms is fine. Still breathing slowly. And we're going to come up and rotate the other way. Do your circles the other way. So still exhaling to round back and inhaling as you come forward, pressing the heart forward. Moving in time to your own breathing, however fast or slow that is today, although we're trying to slow it down as much as we can. Nice deep circles. And then folding over the left knee. Steady breath. And we'll sit back up and come onto our knees. We're going to kneel all the way up and then roll the shoulders forward. So we're in a high cat pose and you're just rolling one shoulder back at a time, kind of like a cat needing a pillow. Your toes can curl into the floor behind you, and if it's uncomfortable on your knees, take the time to get a pillow or to roll your mat under to give yourself some more cushion. Good. Stand up tall again or kneel up tall and stretch the right leg out to your side. We're going to come into a kneeling side plank. So the hand and the left knee and the right leg are all in the same line. Now this is a good place, if it's not comfortable to reach the floor, to put a block under your hand. So I'm going to grab my block real quick and come back. And just give yourself a new floor with that block so you don't have to come down quite so far. It's a little more comfortable. You can put it on either edge. And when you're ready, if you're ready, take it away entirely. But again, left hand, left knee, right foot, all on the same line. Good. With an inhale coming up, bringing the right arm to rest on the right leg and stretching the left arm overhead. Gate pose. Good. Back to center. Bring both knees together again, kneeling tall. Round the shoulders forward, and we'll do high cat again, rolling the shoulders back one at a time. Good. Let's switch sides. Grab your block if you want on that other side. Stretch the left leg out. Right hand comes to the block or to the floor, lining the right hand, the right knee, and the left foot all up. Now that top hip, that left hip is always kind of pulling back. You're rotating it back, rotating the rib cage up toward the sky. So you're staying very open. Looking up or down if that feels more comfortable on your neck. And with an inhale coming up, placing the left hand on the left leg and reaching that right arm over. Trying not to push too hard on that left leg, just kind of letting the hand rest. Good, knees back together, shoulders forward, one more high cat, rolling the shoulders back. Good, kneeling up tall, we'll come down to our hands and knees, and then lift the knees up all the way back to down dog. Lowering the heels, spreading the fingers wide, heart moving toward the knees. Good, taking deep breaths there. And then stepping forward big with one foot so you can turn to the side. And you're going to point your toes out to the corners a little bit. So you have a really wide stance, about as wide as your wrists when you extend your arms. Go ahead and inhale both arms up. And exhale, we're coming to a squat called a sunflower. Inhale back up. Exhale, bend the knees. They're moving in the direction of the toes. And inhale up. Exhale down, sweeping at the floor. Inhale up. Exhale down. Back stays straight and long. You're bending forward a little bit, but you're doing it from the hip, so your spine stays long. Good. Inhale up. Big, expansive, joyful movement, like you're picking sunflowers off the floor and then you're throwing them up in the air as you inhale, come up. Good. Exhale down. Inhale up. And now exhale. We're coming into a sun god or a sun goddess position. So we're holding that squat. Palms are facing forward in a gesture or a mudra that means fearlessness. Good. Sink a little lower as you exhale and then inhale. Come to standing again. Point your toes directly to the sides of the mat, directly forward toward me. And then exhale, fold forward into a wide leg forward fold. Now this is another good place to use your block under your hands. If it's not comfortable to reach the floor, if it feels like too much stretch, get that block and give yourself a new floor. Otherwise, just folding forward as far as it's comfortable, keeping the back long, the head relaxed, and pressing all the way into the outer edges of both feet here. Good. With your inhale, come all the way up to standing. And take your right toes and point them toward the end of your mat. Keep your left toes pointed to the side. Take your arms out and then reach the right hand forward and down, coming to triangle, Trikonasana. Another good place for the block. You can bring that under your right hand. And then you can support your weight a little bit on the block if you need to. Left arm is reaching up. If you don't want the block, you can rest your hand on your shin or reach for the floor. Now we want to keep that left hip, again, turning back, just like in our side plank, our kneeling side plank, where we're rotating the rib cage up toward the sky. We're doing the same thing right here. Good. With an exhale, bring that down. We're going to move into a balanced pose. It's a little bit challenging, but a lot of fun. So go ahead and bring your hands to the floor. Use your block if you need to. That'll make it a lot easier. With the right hand on the block, we're going to lift the left leg up off the floor just as high as it can go. Now you can keep that left hand down if you need to, or start to bring it up toward the sky. I'm just going to scoot back a little bit. I know I was getting my head blocked there by the reeds. Good, and if you want, without the block, feel free to try. Just requires a little more flexibility in that front leg, a little more balance. Good. Now always remember that top arm can stay on the floor. Your hands can stay on your block. Your left leg can stay closer to the floor. There's a lot of elements to this pose, but we just build it one at a time. Good. With an inhale, go ahead and stand all the way up, feet together, arms up, Tadasana. And exhale, arms to side, palms together over the heart as we lift up on the toes. Holding, breathing. Good. Release that, heels to the floor. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Good. Give up the weight of the head. And then place the hands on the floor, step back big to a plank. And then bring the knees down. And as you exhale, Chaturanga will lower all the way to the floor, keeping the elbows right by your rib cage. Good. Bring your arms behind you. And if you can, lace them together. If not, just reach them for each other. That's okay. But if you can lace them, go ahead and do that. And then inhale, lift everything up, Sharpasana, or snake pose. You're reaching your hands towards your feet. Reaching your feet away from your hands. Heart is moving forward. Find the joy here. I know it's a hard pose. It's challenging, but find what's joyful about it. Good. Let it go. Hands under the shoulders, press up. And we'll come back to a kneeling down dog. So our hips are above our knees. There's still some weight in our hands, and our forehead is touching the floor, or maybe not. If it doesn't, that's okay. You could place your block under your forehead. Good, and from there we'll slide back to a child's pose. Taking some deep breaths there, really slowing your breath back down if it got a little bit short or shallow. Really letting your belly expand. Good. Move the hands forward again through a plank to a downward dog. Deeper this time if you can, if it's comfortable. As your body is warmer, you can ask a little bit more of it. And then step forward big with one leg. So we're turning to the side again. Toes are pointing out toward those front corners. Wide stance. Let's inhale the arms up. Exhale. Back to sunflowers, sweeping at the floor, grabbing those sunflowers and throwing them up in the air. Good. Exhale, sweep low. Inhale up. Remember to keep your knees wide on that lunge. Don't let them, or on that squat, don't let them fold inward. Keep them moving in the direction of the toes. Good. Exhaling down each time, inhaling up each time. Good. Now keep the squat and rest your forearms or your elbows on your legs. And with an inhale, we're going to reach one arm up and over the opposite leg. Good. Keep the squat low. And then exhale, bring it back to center. Other side. Inhale, reach up and over. Making that S shape with your arms. Good. Exhale, bring it back down to center. And inhale, arms up, stand all the way up. Turning your feet parallel to one another, facing the end or pointing to the side of your mat and folding forward on an exhale. Wide leg, forward fold. Breath deep and even, giving up the weight of your head and shoulders, going as deeply here as you're comfortable with. Again, our bodies are warmer this time around, so just see if you can go further. On the inhale, coming back up, pointing the left toes now toward the end of the mat, reaching forward with the left arm and then down into triangle. Again, use your block under your left hand if you want. Right arm is reaching up. You can look up, but if that's not comfortable, just look down. That's fine too. That whole upper side of your body is rotating up. It's opening toward the sky. Good. Now exhaling the right arm down, moving into our moon phase, balancing pose, starting with both hands on the ground, starting with the block if you'd like, lifting that right leg up a little bit, and then a little more, and slowly bringing your right hand off the floor if you want, if it's there today. It might not be. I love this balance pose. I know it's not a purely beginner pose, but we can start playing with it. It's okay to fall. It's okay to lose your balance. That's half the fun, is searching for that edge, that place where you can maintain it, but where you feel challenged. Good. Now on an inhale, slowly see if you can stand back up, arms up reaching, and then exhale them to your side. Bring the palms together over the heart as you lift up on the toes. Holding there for just a moment, strong and steady. Breathing deeply. And then lowering your heels down, inhaling both arms up. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Hands to the floor, take a big step back to a plank, and then chaturanga, knees to the floor first, if you want. Elbows right by your rib cage as you come down. Very good. Reach the hands behind you. Lace the hands together if you can. Palms are facing one another. And then lift up again on an inhale to Sharpasana. Crown of the head moving forward, feet moving back. You're very, very long here. And every time you inhale, try to lift a little bit higher. Good. With your exhale, let it go. Bring your hands right under your shoulders. Squeeze those elbows in again. And then with your body strong like a plank, press up and slide back to kneeling downward dog. Hips above the knees. Still some weight in your hands. And breathing, breathing. Very restful. Very joyful. Good. And all the way down or back now to child's pose. Good. Stretching the arms forward. Let's curl the toes back under. We'll come up to downward dog. Heels moving toward the floor. Pressing into your hands like you're going to slide your mat out from under you. Really active through all 4 points. Good. Now with an inhale, let's reach our right leg up and let it bend. So it's opening behind you. You're looking under your right arm. And then turn forward again. We're taking that right knee through between the hands and placing it on the floor. Good. Now the foot is just outside of our left hip. You just don't want to tuck that foot up under you. Keep it outside your hip. And to make it a little easier, you can get that block again and sit up on it. That eases the stretch tremendously. So do that if that feels better to you. This is a pretty intense stretch on your hip. Good. Start by sitting tall. And then if you want, start to lean forward, maybe to your palms or maybe all the way down to your elbows. We'll settle in for a few breaths here. Really give the hip a chance to let go, to relax, to realize that you're not asking it to do too much. You're asking it to do just what it can. Your hips stay pretty much square to the front. You want to resist the urge to lay down on that right side. That's where the block really comes in. If you feel like you're trying to lean to the right, get that block under your hip. Good. Go ahead and walk it back up. Sit tall, heart forward, and then curl the left toes under, hands on the floor. With control, we're stepping back to plank and then downward dog. We'll repeat on the other side here, lifting on an inhale the left leg and letting it fold behind you, looking under your left arm. And then taking it under you, placing it between your hands, making sure that foot is outside your right hip, sliding the right leg back, and then sitting tall, again resisting the urge to lean to the left. Keep square. Your hips are square to the front. Good, and then if you want, folding forward a little bit to your palms or to your elbows. Pigeon pose is one of my favorite hip openers. Good. Hands back up, sit tall, shoulders back and down, and then curl the right toes under, palms to the floor. Lift up with control, step back, plank, and then down dog. And then gently bring your knees to the floor. Slide back into a child's pose, bringing your hands to your side, palms up, and taking some nice deep breaths there. Letting your belly expand. Keeping that sense of joy in your body. And then we'll sit up, sitting back on the heels, bringing the legs in front of us. And placing our hands on our hamstrings, sitting tall, knees are bent. We're leaning back a little bit, but our hearts are forward, coming to boat pose, choosing the version that works for you. So you could keep your feet on the floor, you could lift your legs up and hold your hamstrings, you could lift your legs up and straighten your legs. And then we're going to exhale and curl into a little ball. Hello, pup. And then inhale back to that version of boat. Exhale, curl into a little ball. Good again. Inhale. And exhale to a little ball. Oh, we got both dogs. Inhale to boat. Good. Exhale to a little ball. So choosing a version of both that's challenging for you. Good. Keep going. Inhaling to boat, exhaling to a little ball. Just playing with the dogs for a sec, getting them under control. Good. And then try to roll down to the floor, controlling it the whole way. We're going to keep our knees bent, feet on the floor in line with our hips. Knees are up to the sky, hands by our side. And we're going to inhale, roll up the spine so we're in a bridge pose. And I know he's blocking your view a little bit, but trust me when I say your knees are right above your ankles. We have a straight line from our knees pretty much right down our bodies to our shoulders. It's kind of like you're holding a block between your knees. You want your knees to stay in line with your ankles, not to fall open and not to cave in on each other. Good, then go ahead and roll back down the spine from the shoulders to the tailbone. And when your back is down, we'll lift both legs up. I'm just going to scoot him out of the way a little bit. Good, so both legs up in the air. You could hold your hamstrings here if it's not comfortable or easy for you to just hold your legs up like that. So help yourself if you need to. Otherwise, just giving it a second. And then we're going to rotate our legs internally and externally. So you're turning the leg out from the hip, getting the toes pointed away from each other. And then you're turning the leg inward from the hip, getting the toes pointed toward each other. So first your heels come together, and then your toes come together. Good, then tuck your knees into your chest, rock your spine a little bit side to side. Then we'll stretch our arms out, bring our knees up, and lower them down to one side, resting them on the floor. If they don't get to the floor, put your block under them, or even rest them on your hand. Just give them somewhere to land. And when they're settled, we can look back at the sky or in the other direction, getting that twist moving all the way up your spine. Releasing anything that's not joyful right now. I like to think of twists kind of like a dish rag, and you twist the dish rag, you wring it, and all the water comes out, right? So the same thing here. Let's go to the other side, lowering your knees down to the floor. And again, thinking of that dish rag, like your spine, as it twists, all the water comes out. And that water for us is anything that we don't need. It's anything that is not joyful. It is tension, it is stress, it is fear, it is anger. We're twisting all of that out. It is leaving our bodies. And once it's gone, it's gone. Good, let's bring that back to the center. Knees to the center, hug them in and rock a little bit. And then let's stretch the legs out, stretch the arms overhead. Reach both ways for just a second, and then we'll bring the hands back to our sides, away from the body, palms up. Legs slightly apart, feet falling open to the side, Shavasana, our final relaxation, corpse pose. The few minutes we give ourselves today to totally relax, to totally let go. And we want that same relaxation that's traveling through our entire bodies to move its way into our minds as well. So start to feel that all the thoughts that are jumbled up in there are slowing down and they're getting kind of gooey. They're sort of melting. And let them slide right out of your head. And sometimes they might try to slide back in, and that's okay. We will just re-slide them away. Take some deep breaths, relax your belly. And we'll take the next couple of minutes right here. And then let's start to wiggle our fingers and toes. Maybe roll your ankles a little bit. Bring a little movement back into your body, and then use very little effort to roll to your right. Pausing there a moment before using your arms to bring yourself back to sitting comfortably. You could sit on your block if you wanted. You could straighten your legs if you wanted. Find your long spine and your deep breath again, and close your eyes. Letting that sense of joy sink back into your heart. And let's keep it there today. Let's look for the joy today. Find joy in your own body. Find joy in the things you see and the people you meet. And then bring the palms together over the heart. Namaste.